All right, a quick review of the Mishnah we did from Brachot chapter 2. First of all, Im haya koreh b'Torah, where he was reading in the Torah. V'higia zman hamikra, and the time of mikra, which, as we said yesterday, mikra can often mean just the Bible more generally. In this case, we're concerned with the verb, with the reading, right? The reading of Shema. So you're reading in the Torah, and the time of Kriyat Shema came. Im kiven libo, if he directed his heart, yatsa, right? Yatsa went out, but here fulfilled his obligation. Be'im lav, if not, lo yatsa. So the key things we talked about here, right? He was reading in the Torah. He happened to read the right passage, that right, Barim chapter 6, that qualifies, right? So he's reading the right text, right? But this raises the possibility you could read all of the right words and still not fulfill your obligation. So what do you have to do? You have to kiven libo. What does kiven libo here mean here? We've seen it a few different ways. Right? This is the minimum, right? You have to just direct your heart. Meaning, just have to notice, oh, I'm fulfilling a mitzvah. You have to be conscious of the words and their meaning. You have to do it as a mitzvah and not just as reading through some text. If you do that, yatsa, but if you don't, lo yatsa. Okay? As long as you're conscious that you're doing it, that you do the basic meaning, that's enough. Okay? Okay. Next. Hakore et Shema. Hakore, one who's reading the Shema. Velo hishmiya lezno. Right? And remember we talked about this hishmiya, right? That he-feel form is to make it heard, right? He didn't make it heard to his own ear, right? Just didn't do it out loud. Yatsa. You fulfilled your obligation. Why didn't you tell us that? Well, because Rabbi Yossi Omer lo yatsa. Right? This is where there's a machloket. Right? They're debating, is doing it silently sufficient? Now, what's going on here? Well, they're both reading the word Shema. Right? Just like we read the words B'shach b'cha uvkumecha to tell us something about when. Well, the word Shema itself is being used to tell us something about how we say it. The principle is you need to hear these words. You need to feel like these words are God speaking to us. Right? We're not saying them, we're hearing them. And we need to feel like God is giving us, like we're hearing God commanding us, God giving us directions, God teaching us. What's the difference between the Tanakama, the first few, and the Ryosi? Well, the Tanakama just understands it on that sort of symbolic level. Rabbi Yossi does something that we've seen people do a few different times. He tries to translate the metaphor into something literal, right? So, yes, you're supposed to feel God speaking to you, but we express that in the most literal way possible by actually physically being able to hear the words with our ears. Okay? Right? So here, there's a debate between Nahum and Rabbi Yossi whether you must say it out loud, right? And what's the key? Right? What do we get from Shema? The whole point is we're hearing God. Rabbi Yossi takes that and makes it concrete. You're hearing God commanding you should translate into actually hearing the words. Okay. Third one. Karav lo digdek ba'otiyoteha. Right? He read, obviously, the Shema. Wasn't careful. Right? In the ot, remember ot, letter or sign, but here it clearly means letters because we're talking about pronouncing the words of the Shema. But all of this, all three of these Mishnayot are about how you are saying the Shema. Whether you are saying the words with awareness, whether you are saying them Aloud, hear whether you are saying them properly or clearly. Is not decking in your letters slurring? Is it saying the words wrong? Is it saying them out of order? Could be any of them. You said it, but you made a bunch of mistakes. Rabbi Yossi says, okay, it's still enough. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, that's not enough. And what's going on here? Right? How careful do you have to be with pronouncing the words? Right? It's back to the same idea. This is supposed to be about hearing God's command, hearing God teaching us. So Rabbi Yossi says that means you at least have to hear them. Rabbi Yehuda goes further. If this is God speaking to us, you've got to hear them clearly and precisely. Right? So, all three of these texts focus on how we say the Shema, right, in different ways. How much the attention you have to pay. You have to hear it. How clear they have to be. Right? It's very parallel to Tefillah. Focus on first in chapter 1. We focused on the when. Here we're focusing on the how. The how gets us into the basic distinction, the basic sort of frame into which we put all of our units. Right? The question of how doing something that's a performance, a fixed text, and saying it every day, twice a day, and yet by thinking about how we perform that ritual, we're thinking about how we can get the meaning and the symbolism, get the experience of feeling God's voice in a personal, intimate way. And we're supposed to discover that through how we perform the mitzvah. Okay. And there you have it.